Okay, so I was walking across the booth and I fell flat on my face and realized that someone had tripped me. I turned around and it was Chris Fryar from the Zac Brown Band. I mean, this guy gets a kick out of, you know, watching me fall on my face sometimes, which it is kind of funny. You got to admit, it was fun.
Well, your arms were flailing about like a monkey. It was awesome.
Now, where did you start? Where did you first start setting up your drums low and facing up like that?
Well, it started several years back. I mean, God, almost 20 years ago. I started having trouble with just playing. My technique was starting to suffer. I was playing traditional grip, but I was getting into these odd angles, and I was, you know, things just weren't comfortable. They weren't working. So I started watching old footage of Buddy Rich and Bailey Dodge and Louis Belson and Gene Krupa. And one thing, one constant all the way through it is they're always comfortable when they play. They can play loud, they can play soft, and it's always with the maximum of ease. So I started looking at that and examining, well, you know, what are they doing different that I'm not? And literally the first thing I did was I took the snare drum, and instead of being tilted down towards me, I literally spun it like this and lowered it down. Raised my throne up a little bit, and you know, all of a sudden everything just started happening really easy that way.
So was it a lot easier to learn and be able to transfer all the rudiments around the kit that way for you? Just
absolutely.
Just flow naturally?
Everything opened up once I started taking everything, you know, from that high, you know, everything this way and playing around it like up in my face this way, and started lowering it down and getting it more flat. Everything just sort of went, it just more natural for me, you know. And my technique doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but for me it works great, you know. Like
your arms just naturally, gravity just wants to be like this.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So I let the stick do the work, and all I'm doing is just moving the stick through the space, big circles, you know. Okay. I try to utilize part of the molar technique, so having everything kind of low and close, you know, facilitates, you know, being able to use those circular motions. For me, it works.
Now I'm going to ask you a musical question here.
Okay.
So when you're writing with the Zac Brown Band, you're writing your part. How do you approach a song? Like, what goes through your mind when you're like, okay, so should I approach the song with this type of a groove or this type of a feel, or how does that get worked out?
Well, for me, the first thing I do is I kind of get a feel for what Zac and the guys are hearing in their heads, because it is a collaborative effort. Right. So, you know, I ask them, what are you hearing? What kind of beat are you hearing? Because it gives me a starting point, a common ground. And then from there, I will strip it down to the most simplistic version of that I can. And then as we're playing the song, it can become more and more complex. The reason I approach it that way is I want for all of their parts that they're contributing. You know, everyone, you know, 8 guys in the band now. So everyone has the desire to put their little stamp on it in some way, shape, and form. And so I play simplistically at the get-go so that there is room for a guitar part, room for an electric guitar part, or a pedal steel, or a bass, or, you know, Danny Reyes laying down a percussion part. You know, it's like I try to do all of this with all of that in mind. And then as space opens up, then I may, you know, take that opportunity to fill it with a drum fill or something subtle and complex on the hi-hat and snare drum. So that's, I start from simple and try to go more complex. Now, oftentimes, they will say, no, dude, you gotta just, like, don't play simple, like, go bananas. And so that's what I do, you know.
Let's hear that pat-a-fla-fla, schmera-flam-flam.
Yeah, exactly. They will do that. In fact, when we did the record Uncaged, we were doing the title track, and they decided literally the day we were laying down the track, hey man, we need a drum solo in here, and we're gonna put it in this section of 7/8. Yeah, and so, you know, okay, sure, you know, like, so it's in 7. They've got these oddball hits that are happening, and I'm having to solo all the way through it, and you know, it turned out okay. I still don't know what I played. Have no clue.
Well, you slammed through it, that's for sure. Dude, Chris, thank you so much for stopping by, dude. It was great chatting with you. It's always great to see you. And see you out there on the road.
Yes, buy Gibraltar hardware. If you don't, I'm going to come to your house and kick your ass.